It's OBS now. Yes, I'm not appearing. I don't know. Not working. Oh, something's wrong. I don't know. I'm just going. Well, no, I'm live, but it's not doing what it should be doing. So I don't know. Just do what I can because I'm about to go live. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome. High Valley 56. Sometimes things just don't work, and yes, there's a lot of stuff in the background, so I'm going to try and change my background setting again. It didn't work before, but let's try it again. That's better. So, what a week. Last week we had floods in the train room, and this week, wow. I'll show you more later in the program. I guess it's been a tough week, and I've not been flash. I ran out of my CBD oil, which helps me with my chemo side effects, and lots of stuff going on as well. So today, I'm not in the train room. Where am I? I'm in the office or the production suite. It's it's been a very difficult week. I've had to pull out all the train room, and I've got a video to show later about what's happening there. Because we had the flood and we had the plumber coming, they needed to get equipment around the back of the house. So anyway, first of all, I hope you all doing very well, and hi to Lee and Valley 56. Sorry, your name eludes me right at this minute. And anybody else who is joining me. So what's been happening? Well, we had my grandson here yesterday and my daughter, well, my two grandsons here yesterday to see the plumber. He was going to rip up the backyard. So maybe, well, I'll show it a little bit later, but the plumber came yesterday. He actually came Monday and said, looked at our drains and said, oh, it's blocked up. I can't get through. And so we decided that he would come back on Thursday. That was the free day he had, which suited us. And so my grandsons and my daughter came down yesterday, hoping to see all big action, ripping up the concrete and trying to find the blockage in the drain, but potentially a cracked pipe, but not to be. So the plumbers arrived really early, and I had to obviously pull down the train room so they could get all the equipment through. So there's one module that I can pull out, and however, last time I did that when we had the trees removed and the hot water service, yes, plumber again. It's becoming a habit with the plumber. I have to pull out the middle section, and when I put it back, obviously I did a better job than I thought because it took me so long to pull it out. Anyway, let's go to the conductor cam. Oh no, he's asleep. Some conductor. So instead of doing a video, which I haven't done for the last couple of weeks because it's been impossible, I'm going to play this video and I'll talk it through. So, no, it's not playing. Okay, let me come back. Let me change. I wondered that. I was having issues, but let me turn it off. So all the crap that you see in the background is from the train shed, having to remove it all. So I have done this short video, which will help explain some of it. So here we go. So here's the back of the train room, and as you can see there, and hang on, I will see if I can pause this. No, I can't. Can I pause this? Yes, I can. So if you see the grate there, that is actually a dip. And where the garage door is, it opens up. Now, what you see there is the air conditioning vent and part of the modules. So this grate fills up with water very quickly. And because the distance between the grate and the garage is not huge, it starts flooding. And it's become a real pain. So I'm doing this live stream and this quick video that I have done to show why I've had no videos, because by the time I pull the train room out and do everything and put it back together, I've had to pull it out again. So let's continue the video. So here we are. This is the state of the train room. Yes, it's all covered up. And yes, it was 7 o'clock in the morning, and there's the train room, all covered over for yesterday. However, when the plumbers got there, we'll stop it here. When the plumbers got there, I happened to mention about the driveway. And the driveway, sometimes after rain, has quite a, well, I won't say a flow, but quite a big, I don't know what to call it, a dribble down the driveway, just a very slow leak. And I mean, we've never taken any notice. And I just happened to mention that before they started. And he had a look at the drain and went, whoa, this drain, I'm talking about downpipe next to the garage, this drain was chock-a-block full of water. And he went, oh. So then he had to check it. Now, here in Pakenham, we have recycled water. So our water is collected, goes to a recycling plant here in Pakenham, and then it comes back to us as toilet water and garden water. Sometimes it can be a bit nasty, but most of the time it's okay. So after a lot of camera work down the pipes, he found that across the front, the whole front yard is under water. Well, no, that's a bit extreme. Under the front, all the pipes are full of water. So then he tried down the side of the house. So from the back of the house to the front of the house, that was chock-a-block full of water. So they've had to dig this up, and this is what they found. The water is absolutely ginormous amount of water in this hole, and they had to dig this hole out from the pipe. So much for ripping up the backyard and fixing one little pipe. So much for the jackhammers and the cutters. So now the plumber is coming back next Wednesday. Now, sorry, I think I must have stretched that while I was trying to do something. The front yard. Next week, this time, it'll be dirt. Hi Kyle. Thanks for joining. So the front yard's going to be dirt. and they're going to have to bring an excavator in and dig up the whole front yard. Now, while that's a bummer and the cost is going to go through the roof, it's actually a bonus in one way as well, because when we moved into here, we had all these grassy plants, and we never, well, while they're in low maintenance, they don't look fantastic. They're not nice. So we decided to, we always intended to remove it all. However, we haven't got round to it. So now let me put my background back on so you don't see all the crap from the train room, having to have pulled it all apart. It's better. So they're going to have to rip the whole front garden apart and follow, because the pipe goes from one side of the land to the other side. And this means no train room. So the train room is empty again. Oh dear. Oh, hang on. Where are we? So, as you can see, the state of the train room, the middle bit, and unfortunately, this is going to have to stay for the next week until the plumber has finished. And who knows, it may be even longer. The issue is that we need to clear this blockage or broken pipe or whatever it is. Until we fix that, we can't go round the back and see what's happening around the back. Now, they figured out as much that the actual drain pipe, which I'll take it back there, the actual pipe, the actual collection point, Valley 56, we actually downsized so we didn't have any garden. And we compromised with the front garden. The back garden is really just concrete. But this is only a small house and on a small block of land. So from the back of the house to the fence is about 3 meters, which is mostly concrete. And we really didn't like the grasses. We really didn't like them. They're horrible. But this pipe is at one end. The grate flows into a pipe across the front and then out through the stormwater into the street. Hence, it's all got to be pulled up. And then, hopefully, that will solve it. If not, then we have to start on the backyard. Oh dear, the dollars are ticking away, I can tell you. And the train conductor, he's not doing anything at the moment. He's sound asleep. Not much help at all. So that's where we've been at. Now, before we go any further, I might as well play the next one. So, I think it was last week. No, it's probably the week before. Anthony Dodge, the model train outsider, was talking about in the Wacky Weekend Arties show, was talking about train cam or loco cam. And I've been trying to do loco cam for a long time, but I can't. So I'm going to show you why I'm going to show you part of what I've got, but there are two reasons why I can't. The cameras are often too heavy for the N scale, and because I have tunnels and some sharp curves inside the tunnel, the cameras don't fit in. Anyway, here we go. This is the rail cam when it starts. Here we go. So as you can see from the main station, we go round, and yes, it fell over because the camera was too heavy. All right, so here we go again through the new section. And yeah, so far so good. And we go round the bend. Oh, look, there's me. And we go around the corner, and yes, I should have shut the door from all the crap, but in the laundry. But anyway, here we go. Up and around the top of the layout, the new section. And about here we stop. So that's where we stop. So let me put back the background so we can hide the chairs and stuff. There we go. So that's where I've been at. I hope you're. Thank you so much. It's not its best, to be honest. With having to pull it apart and put it back together several times over the last month, it could be better, and sometimes I find it hard to. Sorry, I find it hard to do things. But thank you very much. So I've posted the link, and if you want to join me, feel welcome to join me. And because not being able to be in the train room, I've got to say I spent not yesterday, Wednesday, all day pulling it apart, and well, you don't have to have scenes. Look, everybody's different. We all have levels of different. What's the word I want? Levels of different updates and where we're at. And one of the reasons I have is because I have a grandson, and my layout design keeps changing because. Hi, Anthony. Because my grandson, so any major work I do, I only get a couple of days, because then I have to put it back, because like yesterday, my grandson was, train room. No, you can't go into the train room. Oh, and I had to take him out twice to show him that there was no trains running. No, that's all right, Anthony. No problem. And yeah, I just do bits and pieces at a time. There's still a lot more, but it depends on how I'm feeling as to how much I get done. So I'm just doing scenery on my layout. Currently building a mountain on one side. Oh, cool. That sounds very cool. Yeah, I've got a third track going in, and hang on, maybe I should go back. Where are we? Let's see if we can go back. Oh, sorry, I've got to take off the. Let me see if I can find it. I'm just playing. I'm going to play the video again, and yes, the green screen doesn't seem to want to work. So let me just stop that there. Remove the background. Maybe I should just let the rubbish sit there, but I'm having to pull everything out. So as you can see in the photo there, it's still in the concept stage. Anthony Dodge was talking about the concept. So if you can see, hopefully you can see, no, you can't see my pointer. If you look in the background there, you can see that there's a track up on stilts. Now, this is about getting the right levels, the right incline, leveled incline to the top. Now, I used to have, if I go back a bit, up where the red brick is, up the top there, I used to have a track up there. I've since removed because of the upgrade and the extension to the track. I couldn't figure out how to get the track from the upper level into the lower level because of really, really sharp turns. They just wouldn't go around the corner. So because they wouldn't go around the corner, I then removed the whole lot. So currently, I'm not quite finished the hang on, where are we? The third track. But again, I've had to pull it apart. It's in. There's a whole lot of stuff in the third track, but it's about getting the concept right. Now, we have somebody ready to come in, so let's say hi, Lee.
Hello.
How you going, Lee?
And not too bad. I was on the workbench and I thought I'll come up because I ended up, I've got a different new camera, as you can see. Then we've got Anthony.
And we've got
Anthony. Hi, guys.
Hi, Anthony.
How you going, Anthony?
All right. Sorry I'm late. Dinner got late. Everything got thrown up. And look, I just
had a week,
10 minutes
if you
ago.
If you had a week like me.
Oh, yeah. No, I probably haven't had a week like you, but just hectic today. Joyce had a doctor's appointment late this evening, so dinner was late. And I just finished dinner about 20 minutes ago, sat down to think, and oh crap, live stream.
That's all right. I crept on.
Yeah.
But I don't like being late when I promise to be there.
No, look, we can't help it.
Real life, right?
It's been tough. So yesterday was just sitting on edge all day. All morning until we found out what was going on with the plumbers. That's why I'm sitting here in the office. Oh, sorry, Lee, go ahead.
I said, I can't believe it with the layout. That layout was coming on leaps and bounds.
Yeah, well, it is, but the parts that have come out are removable.
Yeah, it's not bad, but you don't know how long you're going to be without your layout, do you?
No, I don't. Not anymore. I have no clues until next Wednesday, when the plumber pulls up the front yard. And a few grand later, can't believe it. We just had a new water heater, and now we're spending a huge amount of money to stop this leak.
Hopefully it's not that long before you're back to playing trains.
Oh, yeah, I know. Well, my grandson here yesterday was going ape because he couldn't play trains.
Oh, I've been chocker with trains. I've actually been back up in the loft.
Oh wow!
I'm working on a project on that.
Yeah,
been filming it. I have actually got a project I'm working on, but I'm not going to give too much away. All I'm saying is I've finally gone down the road of a
piece of
applicator.
Right. Well, Anthony will understand what we went through yesterday, having a grandson. Mine's only 2.5, and the younger one who's 8 months. So he's not an issue, but the 2.5-year-old, almost 3-year-old, couldn't understand. Trains.
Trains. Yeah.
So we had to get out the wooden wooden Thomas and play on the kitchen table.
Yeah.
So, and that's all I have, because I had my 2 videos, and then that's all I had planned. And even then, I only put the second video together about half an hour ago before we started.
Well, I was actually watching videos on OBS. I'm actually going down the road of OBS finally.
Oh, right. It's good. I prefer OBS because of the quality.
Yeah.
But I can't do this.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And although I'm going to say I'm going to ask a question. Yeah. Go on, Anthony.
I was going to say, technically, you can do this in OBS.
Yes, I know, with Ninja. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have
actually no. You don't, well, you're using your phone, right?
no.
Oh, okay. No. You can. Well, yeah. You. I'm doing it backwards. You can bring OBS into this.
Yes, that's what I'm doing. No,
Right.
I had another idea. I just had another idea, and it's probably not as how can I say it? Not as flexible as this, but I had a wonder, and I thought I might try it out at some stage if I can get somebody to help me, like Anthony, to use Microsoft Teams into a laptop, and then from the laptop into the OBS.
Ooh, that would be above my pay grade. I have never used Microsoft Teams.
No, I know. Well, I haven't used it much either, but we used it the other day. But the principle is it's the same sort of principle that I invite you come into Teams, and then we could use Teams to go into OBS.
Right.
And in that way, we would get, maybe, if it works, I don't know, it just something came to me, better definition.
I know someone that used it, Get Warhammer Gamer guy, and I've been up on panel with him. It's weird how it works, because it's crazy how it works.
It's very hard, from what I understand with OBS, it's very hard to get any kind of a call-up chat into OBS.
Yeah, it is.
Even if you do it as a window, like Microsoft Teams, and you do it as a window, there's such an odd delay. It's like it's the worst of both worlds.
Well, that's what I wondered.
Such a crazy delay that it would be like watching your, like right now I have the mic, I've got the Windows version here, and then I've got StreamYard, and there's a good 5-second delay between what we're doing now and what's popping up on YouTube in the YouTube window.
I know, but there is a function in OBS that you can actually delay the stream.
Right.
So I don't know. That's why I said we need to play with it to experiment to see if we can do it.
There are so many things OBS does that I have not experimented with, and I need to. Like, I watch people who use OBS, and they'll have their subscriber count added in. They do them. They're called docs, I guess. But they'll have the subscriber count, or when somebody joins the channel, you can have a little animation comes up and parties through. And I don't know how to do any of that. I think what I do on OBS is what I know how to do. Bring in lots of cameras and.
Well, there's I've used it quite a lot, but not for trains, for other stuff. But welcome, Valley. Sorry, I think it's Chris, isn't it?
That is Chris, although he's muted right now.
Yes, he is muted. Why
Yeah,
is it?
when I went up on the panel of a friends that he does it that way through Teams, there's about a 3 minute delay. And
Oh,
it's
okay.
crazy.
All right.
It's
Maybe
crazy.
I won't.
And I had to watch it. I was watching it on my tablet like I'm doing now. I've got you on my main monitor in front of me, and I've got a tablet with YouTube on. But I think
Sounds long.
I need to do another tour of the hobby room. I've got 7 webcams now, all working through the room.
Yeah, I need to experiment with it.
Yeah, there has to be another way. I mean, Ninja, I looked at Ninja, and that's pretty complicated.
The funny thing is, Ninja on the phone to OBS is real easy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but Ninja from my phone to OBS is real easy. And there's like a second, not even a second delay. It's like half a second delay that, so I now with Ninja on my phone, I can turn my phone into a camera.
Yeah.
And use it in OBS as another camera. And I do it as a mobile, like, hey, I'm going to take you over here and show you something right now.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Man, a few words.
This is what happens when you invite a mime onto a live chat. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but I was playing with Ninja during the week, and
okay, so apparently he was talking. He's just not coming through.
We can't hear you, Chris.
It'll be in his mute mic.
We've got you. You're unmuted.
I would like to say is that I'm really glad to be here up on the stream. It's lovely to be here, even though it's late where I'm at. I'll just dub in his voice.
Oh, he's gone. Chris, you've gone. Okay.
But he was still
so yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of ways of doing it a little bit better.
Indeed.
I wish.
Don't give up, Chris.
Don't give up, Chris.
Don't go, Chris. Don't give up.
It's fun to do this, and I miss it. I started off doing some live streams, but because of health and not knowing where I was heading, there wasn't any point in doing a regular, because I couldn't say that I was going to be regular, being in and out of hospital for so long. Before I found Chris is back. Hang on, hello, Chris.
Deep sigh.
He's talking, but no voice.
No voice.
You're unmuted at this end.
Yeah, I usually go into my settings and make sure
he's not muted on here, so he's just not getting his mic to cooperate.
Yeah, his mic's not cooperating. He's not clicked his mic. He could have different mics all settings.
Well, like me, StreamYard will just randomly pick a mic, and we know you have a microphone, but we think you'll want to use the mic on that camera way over there.
Yeah. That's the same with me. I went into my settings.
I have all these devices attached that OBS and StreamYard read, and one of them says microphone. Now you would think StreamYard would go, microphone. No, it's like, we're going to use this camera that's way over there that nobody can hear, and you got turned off anyhow.
Yep. He's gone again, Chris.
StreamYard is the programming on StreamYard at times is a little bit on crack.
I call it ScrewYard at the moment because what it's done to a lot of people.
The whatever you want to call it, the programming, base programming in there is just sort of like, I don't know, man, just turn that mic on over there.
Yeah.
Hey, I've got some if you want. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the other week, so we're talking about being screwy. The other week I was trying to go live and I just gave up. I went with OBS. I didn't have a start stream button. So I couldn't start the stream with, even though it was scheduled, I couldn't start the stream. And in the end, I had to go to OBS, and then everything else fell apart. Like I had a faulty lead that was working 5 minutes before we went live. The audio connection went down, and it's just one of those days.
I have an idea. Let's let them load up a live stream, but then we'll forget to load up the go live button.
Yeah, yeah.
As we do.
And it was just frustrating, and I guess I wasn't in a great place because of feeling really crap. And I'm not feeling flash today either. But anyway, at least I've got some stuff to help me out. But
yeah, I mean, I'm just sitting here now waiting. I'm just waiting for the United States Defense Department to come on and let us know what their next plan of attacks are.
Yep.
Sorry, I don't think there's any. Well, Kyle's here. I try to avoid making political jokes with Americans, but
no, it's all right. I get it. Yeah.
Is that you there?
Yeah.
Yes. Are we on? Hello. Yeah.
It's like a friend of mine forgot to hit live. Was talking for an hour before hitting live.
Oh yeah, I forgot that little bit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot that bit. Yeah. No, I couldn't. I was just not there. Not even the chat. Just it was bizarre. But then again, I'm now thinking, well, maybe my water problem is getting into my line. Don't know.
Anything's possible. Anything's possible.
Well, we had that about a month ago when we had to have the water heater replaced because it was leaking. It was just really bizarre. And anyway, today is at least I've got on, and it's been not a lot to talk about. So I called it light because I went, oh well, if nobody joins me, I haven't got much to chat about because I haven't been able to do anything in the train room. It's been out all week.
At work and kind of busy. Okay, Kyle. Well, that's my problem. You bring me on a chat, I'll talk. In fact, I won't.
I know. Well, that's why I invited you. I wanted somebody to help me through.
What do you want to talk about? We can talk about.
What do you want to talk about? I don't know.
My favorite
trains.
I tell you now, that balloting you done, Anthony.
No, Joyce and I have a whole bunch of songs that are written and trying to decide. Plus, we've got a couple of new ones I'm just starting to work on, parody songs. But we want it to be something special, since the next song we put up is going to be the 50th.
I was going to say the 50th
parody song. And then the stupid one today is I was driving Joyce to the doctor's appointment and back, and we were listening to The Wall, Pink Floyd's The Wall. That just happened to be what was on the playlist. And I looked at Joyce and I said, I don't know, I already did Abbey Road side 2. So I've done half an album side. Could I just take one of the famous concept albums and turn it into an entire train parody album? How about The Wall? Joyce just looked at me and said, "You're insane." I said, "I don't have any lyrics. I'm just joking. I'm just spitballing it. But yeah, how about we just do The Wall, the entire album, The Wall, as a train parody song?"
Well, I've got a funny story about that. Chris says I was going to show my class 52.
Well, you don't need words for that, Christopher. Chris, you can just...
Yeah, you could at least hop back in and show it, even if we can't hear you. Funny story about The Wall. I used to work a long time ago for a very prestigious hi-fi shop here in Melbourne. We had this system, and it was the turntable was, we used to call it a super suck. It actually used to suck a record to the platter.
Right, I remember those.
Remember those? It was
Yeah. They
I can't think.
never caught on in the United States, but I do remember.
Oh, they were very expensive, and we had a carbon fiber tone arm on it, and we had a Koweitsu gold cartridge. So the turntable was worth about $5,000. We had pure Class A Stax amplifier preamp. There was another $10,000, and we just got these new Electro Voice speakers in, and they were 2 big panels. They must have been, I don't know, 3 feet square, and then it had a subwoofer, and the subwoofer from memory was either 18, 20-inch subwoofer. Anyway, this speaker system had just come in, and in next door where I was in the workshop, and one of the guys who we used to call Mr. Smooth, the sales guy, used to go. He wanted to show off to the girls, so he had all the girls in the room, and he started playing the walls. This is, and he's got it up fairly loud, and we get to a spot where it gets really loud, and I could hear the subwoofer starting to crack. And by the time I ran from the workshop into the showroom, he popped the cone into the waste paper basket. Now, the Electro Voice speaker system was worth $13,000. That was just the speaker system alone, and he popped the subwoofer into the waste paper basket. And you just, boy, was he in trouble.
I can believe
On
it.
the flip side, if it can handle maximum volume of something, then it's not worth the money they're charging for it.
Well, yeah, but it was, but see, the difference is it was a Class A amp, so very powerful, very clean. You cannot believe how clean this system was. And he had it up high. I mean, he really did. He pushed the limits. But yeah, we used to have all the top hi-fi. In fact, the owner of the store, looks like I've frozen. Yep. The owner of the store, he would spend 10, 15 grand just to have one pair of speakers that he wanted in the showroom. So, yeah, that's so why have I frozen? Oh well, looks like I'm in a pose.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, wonderful.
Wonderful. Why am I frozen?
And Chris says he listened to some Mozart on $100,000 in a blind listen on $100,000 system. No, I don't think I've ever actually listened to anything. I think the most expensive stereo system I ever actually listened to in a shop where somebody you didn't touch it, they came out and touched it. Was about $15K, $20K back in the 80s.
Yeah, we used to have all the top hi-fi stuff. So, speakers were anything from in this showroom, which was upstairs. Downstairs we had other stuff, but in the upstairs showroom we had all the really nice gear. So, speakers started at 15, and I'm talking now. I've got to say this. I'm talking back in the 80s, right? And last century. And speakers started at $1,500, and went up from there. And we had Stax panels, and they were electrostatic. And as I said, the boss just wanted a pair in the showroom. Didn't care how many he had to buy. He wanted a pair because they were really fantastic. We had timpanis. What were they? I don't remember the brand name. There were 3 panels of electrostatic speakers, and they were worth something like 5 or 6 grand. And the Super Suck, which had a vacuum cleaner, by the way. That's why we used to call it Super Suck. There was one other time. Oh yeah, I remember. They were using the Super Suck, and they were playing the 1812 Overture. Had it up too high, no suspension on the turntable, and playing the 1812 Overture, and the cannon went bang, and they blew a 2 grand.
This one goes up to 11
cartridge. It's just, but it was also lots of fun because we got to play with it. We could take stuff home and play with it. Oh, Kef, we had Kefs, we had Infinity, you name, mostly English brands. We did have some American Electro Voice, but my 2 turntables cost $6. Look, I had a turntable, you believe it or not, that cost me about $20. It was a Sanyo turntable, but it was solid. And I worked for Sanyo as an apprentice, and people used to poo-hoo it until they heard it. You put a decent cartridge on it, and they can sound magic, Although we did have some very unusual guys who, used to come into the shop every month and spend 50 to 100 grand on a system, because, this new one was 0.0043 better than his last one. But,
Most I ever paid for a turntable, about $169. That was back in the late 80s, early 90s. That's the most I ever paid, and it was I think it was a Philips.
Yep. Well, I had this Sanyo one, and it was really unusual. But then I worked for
Pioneer.
Sanyo.
Make it Pioneer. It was a Pioneer.
Was it?
Yeah.
But and I also had I know Anthony's seen them, but he didn't take any notice of them. I have what's called a concrete spherical balls that are my speakers, and they are actually made of concrete. They're about 60 kilos each, and they sit on a little doggy bowl. And they used to hate them in the shop, but they also loved them because when people heard them, they would buy them, but they wouldn't buy anything else.
Indeed.
They would only buy those because, being concrete, they have no resonance. So if your speaker went down to 15 hertz, you could feel 15 hertz. I used to shake the house apart. When we were one house we were on stumps, and the guy across the road used to say, "Oh, you were playing the 1812 last night, weren't you?" And I went, "Yeah, why?" I could see the house moving, because these you just felt, and that's what made them so good. We used to have Danish drivers in them, and they were stunning. And so it looks like I really am locked up. Wow.
Yeah, it does.
I wonder if I can hang on. Let's see if we can.
Sorry, I'm just adjusting a train that derailed.
No, that's all right. I wish I could play some.
I'll stay here for a bit because I'm going to jump off, but it's getting up for 12 o'clock for me.
Oh, yeah, I guess it is late. Right, let me go back. Here's our train conductor. Let me see if we can go back and unlock the stuff I have. There we go. Yeah, it must be real. I went when I did the promo. I know I did one with the UK, and then I couldn't remember. No, I picked the wrong one, and I was just having a bad time.
Oh,
But yeah, it must be like
I've got nothing to build. That's why I'm not live. I've got no kits to build. Lucky enough, I have got a kit that I've got a Metcalf viaduct, cardboard
Right.
viaduct that I'm gonna be doing. That's coming on the bench. But at the moment I'm repairing some buildings that are broken on the layout. I'm repairing some bits what I've got on the bench that chimneys have knocked off the way you do. The chimneys that are on the top, I knocked them off from my arm yesterday when I was working on something. But I do like this camera that I'm on, this new face camera in front of me.
Yep. I showed you my little one. Well, that was, if you saw earlier, the video I did about the Loco Cam. That was that little tiny one that I showed you the last time we were on a stream.
Oh, yeah.
But it was just way too heavy. Just it kept falling off.
Yeah, well, I've just scratch built. Anthony, I like this one actually. I've just scratch built. You know that camera I've done the video for, Anthony? I've just scratch built the camera car for it.
Wow.
Oh,
Cool.
So I'll be able to do a running video of it.
So I have to do another tack on that one. But anyway,
I just modified it. Just chopped out a piece and modified for my GoPro. And yes, it has to be upside down to get the right angle. Otherwise, it's high up.
Yeah. Well, see, even that wouldn't go through mine because it's too high.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is HO and I don't have tunnels.
I know.
Yeah. I've got tunnel in the loft. I've got the tunnel in the loft, the tunnel that goes where the ski slope is. But there is a video I'm going to start recording. I've started recording it today. There is a video I'm working on a project up there.
Right.
No, my first television that I bought myself, my first stereo system I bought myself, were all a company called Signature. And you probably have never heard of Signature because it was Montgomery Ward's private brand. And if you've never heard of Montgomery Ward's was working class American department store. So it was inexpensive, decent quality, but inexpensive.
Yep.
And I bought it cheap and then tried to adjust, but I never owned a high-end stereo system. I did eventually get a Pioneer system. Together.
Thanks for having me.
See you later, Lee. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, Lee.
Yeah. When I get the mouse to work.
It's all in the eye of the beholder. You know, some people, appreciate just music and it doesn't matter how it sounds. The thing is that when you work in a top hi-fi shop, you get a bit, I don't know, what's the word? Sorry, my brain's not working, But we had the advantage that we could buy stuff really cheaply.
Mm-hmm.
And we could pay it off. So the speakers that I got, the audio spheres, they came into the workshop. They weren't new. They were secondhand. They came into the workshop and I saw them and I went, oh, I'd heard so much about them. So I said, can I take them home for the weekend? So thanks, Lee. Have a good night. So I took them home and went, wow. Mind you, the car was like that. Taking them home. And one of the other guys the next day said, did you take those audio spheres home? Yep. I was interested in them. I said, sorry, I've already bought them. And so that's how I got my system. We were allowed to buy stuff and we used to pay it off each week, So, but I'm not anal about it, but I do appreciate good music. And I was a tech at this shop, and they used to think, he's just a tech. One day we were sitting listening to something new because we all listen to new stuff. And I go, did you hear that? And they all looked at me and went, hear what? And I went, there was, I forget what it was. It was some instrument in the background that was really quite unique.
Mm-hmm.
And all the top guys who thought they had a great ear just looked at me and went, what? We played it back again. And I went, right there. And they went, oh, yeah. They changed their opinion after that.
Yeah. Now, I will say there does come a point where, I think there's a clear difference between, let's say, a $500 speaker and a $100 speaker. I mean, there's a clear difference. I do think there's a point where a $10,000 speaker and a $20,000 speaker, there really is no difference. It's just, if we can, we've got a name, and we can throw an extra $10,000 on the price and get away with it because people will buy it just to say, I paid $20,000 for that speaker. It's the same thing back in the 70s and 80s in America. Guys would have these 4-foot tall speakers, but the quality of them wasn't any better than a 12-inch speaker.
Yeah,
the sound quality wasn't any better. The size, but everybody had, well, look how big it is. Look how big it is. Now, the best deal I ever made on speakers.
And that's the point, Anthony. The point is there is a point between what you can hear the difference and no difference. And, everybody's ear is different.
Yeah.
To start with, we're all different, but our ears are different too. So it's what you can determine. But there is a point where you cannot hear the difference, and it's not worth it. I'm not like that. I'm just, as I said, I have a reasonably good ear, and I can pick stuff out. And it's for me, it's what's acceptable.
Right, and the sort of one of the best deals I ever did with speakers was back in 2012. My daughter was getting married. It was her wedding, and she was really setting it almost all up herself. And she hired a DJ, and then the DJ canceled out on her like 4 days before the wedding.
Yeah.
And suddenly, Dad didn't become the DJ, but it's an outdoor wedding, and they needed certain things done outside. And I've got a stereo system, but it's not outdoor quality speakers, and I certainly don't want to take my stereo system outside. So we went to, of all places, Goodwill. I don't know Goodwill. And they've got two 16-inch speakers. And they want $10 for the pair. Now, these speakers are from the 1960s, but here's the thing. These were Fisher speakers.
Whoa!
Yeah.
I know who.
Yeah.
Well, I know Fisher because
New York, handmade, no machines, everything handmade. These two speakers were from 1962, and they were probably worth about $700 each.
Yep.
And so I was like, I don't consider myself too savvy, but I know Fisher was a line that even in Toledo, you had to order to get them.
Fisher was
stores that stacked Fisher speakers. You had to order them through a company, and then they would order it through a distributor and get them in. They were not something that was just on the shelves. And so for a couple of 1962 speakers, we wired them up and set up the audio system for, like Here Comes the Bride and the pomp and circumstance parts of the wedding. And we had a friend run the system, but I set it all up. But I wound up selling those off a few years ago, and I still only sold them for about $200 total. But hey, I made a profit on them.
Well, I know Fisher very well because when I worked for Sanyo, back in the 70s, we used to have a test room, which sometimes I'd go to. Being an apprentice, you get, all the odd jobs, etc., etc.
Right. Oh yeah.
Go down the street and get this, or but I also got to see the good stuff, and we had a room full of Fisher audio, and it was the most magic stuff because what happened was Sanyo ended up buying Fisher.
Okay.
And the stuff we had in this room from Fisher was amazing. the quality of it, was stunning. So yeah, I know Fisher very well.
Okay.
And that's where I think this turntable came from. Because I worked for Sanyo, we used to get samples and things like that we could buy. We used to have a damaged stock. And we used to get all sorts of stuff in the damaged stock. And often it was just samples and things like that.
Right.
But also we had TVs, and back in the day, being an apprentice earning about $10 a week, and yeah, literally, I used to make a bit of money selling damaged stock stuff. Because colour TV in 70, I was an apprentice in 75, and in 75 colour TV came in, and we used to buy colour TV secondhand for about $200, and they were retailing the cheapest was $800 in the shop. So I'd buy them for $200 and sell them off for $400, make a little bit of money. It used to keep me going, but the Fisher stuff was stunning. Loved it.
Yeah, considering these had been, I don't know how many owners they would have gone through, but obviously the people who donated them to Goodwill probably didn't know what they had, and they had not. The exterior, true wood, solid wood, not plywood, not particle board, but solid wood box. The wiring inside was 1961, which meant it really wasn't that complex. And it had the wiring diagram inside, which was really cool to see. So when I just needed to tweak it a little, and that's what's like, yeah, everything's pretty much good to go here, and no crackling, no popping, and they were beautiful speakers, and they projected very well at an outside wedding.
I can imagine they would be stunning.
Because anything that could go wrong with that wedding outside of the couple not getting married went wrong with that wedding. There was supposed to be a string quartet to play. They canceled out to play live at they were supposed to play live. The DJ quit. Now, I fortunately was there, and I got a friend of the family. He agreed to do it. He would DJ. So he did a great job. My friend Mark Wurtzinger, he came in and did it, which was awesome. I set up the outside stuff, which was fine. And my daughter I forget what church she got married in, because she was raised Catholic, but Catholic won't do outdoor marriages. You have to do it in the church.
Yep.
And so she went off the board, and some sort of non-denominational. There was a woman minister too. I'm not sure she wasn't a Wiccan. But yeah, it just the weather was nice. My daughter made her own wedding dress,
right,
which she did not have done the day of the wedding. So there was last minute panicking. All the women in the family met over at my daughter's house. She hasn't slept in 2 days. She's freaking out because this is canceled, that is canceled, this is canceled, the dress isn't ready, and yeah, so we had to do a lot of improvising, but Joyce and her sister Kathy went over and helped finish the dress, but I think it was done 10 minutes before she walked down the aisle. Yeah, it was insane, but they got married and they're still married, so
Yeah, well, we had a similar thing. My daughter sort of wanted to get married, and we had stuff set up, and COVID hit. We had all sorts of different plans. We were going to do it in a park. I was going to buy a drone. We're going to put it on YouTube. Went through all sorts of things. Anyway, finally, they set another date, and which was in May, and in the January, my wife's brother had died suddenly, and we were about to walk out to the funeral and go down to the country, because that was in South Gippsland. And my daughter and her then boyfriend, got a phone call to say that the venue that they were going to have the reception in went down the tubes.
Oh,
So you can imagine we're on the way to the wedding, which was about an hour's drive, with daughter's in tears, and we had to change. Well, she was still looking for a church because the other church was an issue. We went from about 300 guests down to like about 20 or 30 because of COVID. Then it went up. It went up and down like a yo-yo with the amount of people we had.
right.
And found a venue, and the one that they originally wanted, but was available. So there was a cancellation. So they got the original venue they really wanted.
Oh, okay.
But it was a limited number, and that's fair enough. And the church, they had to move because, again, we had ordered a tent, because what we were doing was we were inviting a whole lot of people, and we would have afternoon tea. And then there was only a private wedding breakfast. And so anyway, we had the church, and so Heather and I and Liam's parents, we did the afternoon tea in this particular church. And we started out, we were only allowed, I think it was 50 or something. We went up to 100 about a month and a half before the wedding. We were allowed to go up to 100.
Mm-hmm.
So we invited 100 people. And anyway, it was May, and May here is pretty horrible. And after all that crap we went through, and look, I'm pricing this down, it was really horrible at the time. The day my daughter got married, we were up at 6 a.m. and it was foggy, and we had to drive, about an hour to the hotel or apartment she was staying at, where we got changed, and she was with her bridesmaids, and just near where we had lunch, right on that corner there, somebody ran up the back of us.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, anyway. So anyway, we got to the venue, and I opened the boot and I couldn't close it. Now, this is like 7 a.m. in the morning, and I had to be at the church, and because I had to put the car at the church and then get back and have photos and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, I drove, must have been 2 kilometres down the road with my boot open, found a servo and got some straps, strapped the boot down, went to the wedding venue, parked the bum into the back so nobody could get in, got a taxi to go back to get changed, to get ready.
Oh, jeez.
So it wasn't a good start. And as I said, it was foggy and it was horrible. Well, was it a perfect day? She couldn't have picked a better day for May. It must have been about 20 degrees, that's Celsius.
Right.
Absolutely perfect. And everything went off really well, except she sort of fell apart just before we walked down the aisle. So,
okay.
So what we did was I walked behind them. So she walked down with her mum. And when we got down to the front, and I'm saying this because there's another reason, we got down to the front, I then took her hand or arm, and I took her up onto the sort of platform stage.
Right.
And I did that bit. As I was walking back down, I almost fell apart, literally. Liam's dad, her to-be husband's father, bawling his eyes out. And I went, oh, dear. And here's the whole front row, and the second row, which was us and his parents, all bawling their eyes out. And it was like, oh. Anyway, we got over that. So, but it was nice. The pipe organ sounded stunning. We had somebody who knew how to play it.
Mm-hmm.
It was absolutely magic. But it was just, a culmination of so many things that went wrong, and then to have this perfect day, it was
Yeah.
such a relief. And yeah, it went off without a hitch. But and we got some great photos, and even to the fact when we were in a park, some distance away from the church, having some photos taken, the cops were there, and one of the cars. So we had a Wolseley 1956 Wolseley limo, very rare. And this limo had driven the Queen around Papua New Guinea. It was absolutely stunning, but there was no room, and we had so many people stacked in because we had 4 bridesmaids, Heather and myself, and the photographer all stacked in this car.
Mm.
But absolutely stunning. Anyway, we get to the photos, and there's the cops there, and they come over because one of the other cars the guys came in was a Mustang. And they were all drooling over this Mustang. And anyway, so they put the flashing lights on and go, congratulations, on their moving sign to the bride. It was quite funny. But, and the other funny story was on the way to the church, we were driving along one of the main roads, the Nepean Highway, and it was quite warm. And one of the bridesmaids was Liam's daughter, Liam's sister, I should say, and she decided to wind down the window, and this car went by with all these guys. Next minute, they're hanging out of the car going, congratulations. It was quite funny. But yeah, that was her wedding day. But yeah, it was just nightmarish beforehand, though. But nothing as dramatic as yours.
I don't know. I mean, every story's got its issues. I mean, it was, my daughter really wanted to do it all herself instead of, I mean, partly she couldn't afford a planner.
Yep.
And we did not have as much money as we would have liked to have had to. I mean, we paid for a lot of things, but it was, she announced a year in advance, Mom, Dad, we want to get married next year. And we're like, ooh, could you give us just a few more months and then we can get the money put aside and do it?
Yep.
But nope, she's not going to wait. Okay. Because we took our students to Germany, and we're broke after we took our students to Germany. But the funny thing is, her husband is Italian, and his family's all from Philadelphia.
Yep.
They're from the East Coast, which is quite, a ways away from us. And they all came into town. And his mom died years ago. But his dad and all the Italian relatives came into town.
Oh, yeah.
And we decided, okay, we're going to have the rehearsal dinner, and then we'll have a party at our house because it's August. It's hot in August, and we've got a swimming pool. We had a swimming pool. We don't have it anymore. And all the little nieces and nephews could come over. So Thursday, when everybody's coming into town, it's 82 degrees and warm. And then rain came in, and the day we're doing the party where it's supposed to be pool, we didn't get over 70 degrees. And some of the kids went swimming anyhow, but they were all coming out of the pool blue-lipped because it was just cold and kind of rainy. And then the next day of the wedding, it was gorgeous blue sky, about 73, 74 degrees, which, about 20, 21 Celsius. And it was just, it was a magnificent day, and we got through. Was it my daughter's dream, where the string quartet was going to play and blah, blah, blah? No. But again, she had people volunteering to do it. She had, between my two daughters and my son, they all had friends in band and orchestra in school, and they got a few of these people to say, yeah, we'll come, and here's 3 numbers. And then one person said, oh, my family's going on vacation this week, so I won't be there. And then another person said, oh, well, if they can't go, I won't be there. And like one person was like, well, I can still come. It's like, well, thanks a lot, guys. You know, when you commit to something, you commit. You were going to get paid. We were going to pay, even though they were volunteering. But that was that. But yeah, well, my daughter, obviously Joyce was very emotional. And yeah, my baby girl, she's not my baby girl, she's my oldest. But she was, 20, you know, which was older for us. How old was she when she got married? 20, well, maybe she was only 24 when she got married. I feel like she was older. But my son, who got married in October of 2023, that one got me. That one, because they decreed that the dads had to give speeches. My daughter's wedding didn't do that.
Oh, we did.
Yeah, my daughter's wedding didn't have parent speeches.
Oh, right.
They just eschewed that. But my son's wedding, and the thing is, the father of the bride went first. And oh, did he annoy all the people at the wedding. He droned on and on and on.
Oh.
And basically his speech was about what great parents he and his wife were because of all the achievements of their daughter. They were so busy pointing out every achievement she had, from kindergarten through college, all the awards she won. And it was just, you know, so we must have raised her right, blah, blah, blah. And then she said, he was really just going on and on about how great his daughter was because of what great parents he and his wife were. And his wife is from Costa Rica. He's an American. She's from Costa Rica. And so when I got up, it was like, whatever, I was going to wing it anyhow. I wrote a basic speech, but I definitely cut it a bit shorter. And I tried very hard not to, well, you know, my son is, you know, I felt like I needed to defend my son. It's like, my son has also achieved so many things in his life, but his greatest achievement is he's here to marry such a wonderful girl and blah, blah, blah. And so I gave just a quick speech of a couple of memories. You know, this is my son, and some of the, you know, having to grow up the son of me, because within family and within a small community, I have a larger than life personality. You know, almost all the people that my son invited to the wedding were former students of mine. And some colleagues of mine were invited to the wedding, some of AJ's favorite teachers, as well as professors from the university he went to, and that.
Yep.
And I just gave a little speech, and then I said, and I know some people here are very religious, but I hope nobody will take this as sacrilege, but I'm going to steal a line from the Bible. And to all of you, I want to say, this is my son in whom I'm well pleased. And so I kept it relatively short, and everybody came up afterwards, and it really was just my speech looked great in comparison to the droning father, the other father. People were very glad I kept it short.
I can imagine. Yeah. Well, we read the riot act, okay? So we were told 5 minutes. So we'd seen this trick done before, so we did this. So when Heather and I went up to give the speech, so we did it as a team rather than singularly. We walked up and we had this big scroll, and we undid it, and it rolled down and across the floor. And my daughter's looking at us going, oh, no. She didn't know that was all in big writing. And it was only 5 minutes. But the expression on her face when she saw the rollout of this big long speech was quite funny. But that was pretty tough, though. I won't say it wasn't, but it was pretty tough.
But yeah, I was teary-eyed with my son and
Yeah,
tried not to let go as I was giving my speech. But
yeah, we were a bit there. Well, see, we only have one daughter. We only have one child, so
right.
it was, our only child. But it was. I was a bit emotional, but it was hard because Liam's dad was very emotional,
Mm-hmm.
and so he set everybody else off. Even when we were setting up the day before for the afternoon tea, he was crying, and all of a sudden we were bawling our eyes out too. It was sort of almost contagious.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that was probably the hardest bit. But it was a good day. So anyway, we managed to sidetrack, which was good because I didn't have anything. As I said, I didn't want to not do something today, but I didn't know what to do because I didn't even know whether I was going to be able to do anything today.
Right.
Because we're in such limbo with this drain problem. So, and even now, I don't, I can't put the train sheet back together again until we get it fixed.
Right. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. See, I went through that just before I came on YouTube. Actually, I kind of had started on you. I mean, I've been on YouTube for 20 years or however long it's been around. But when I had just started posting a couple of videos, I got talked into putting some train stuff on video. Right about that time is when our basement flooded. This flooded in here. We had, it was a combination of a lot of bad things. They were working on the sewers in the neighborhood, so half the sewers were out of commission. We got a massive rainstorm. Joyce and I were out of town, so it flooded. We got 2-3 inches, and it was sewer water. So it was just, by the time we got home, our basement was just nasty.
Ours is only stormwater.
So insurance covered most of it, but beginning from that time, because that actually was 2008 when we actually flooded. And from that time on, we just, anytime there were heavy rains, we would just find, the carpet down, new carpeting that we put in, took out the old stuff, lost all the furniture, got new stuff in here, but we didn't fix the problem. We just replaced what was destroyed, but we didn't know there was going to be a problem. So anytime there's heavy rain, the water puddles in the basement kept getting bigger and bigger. And finally, after 4 years of it in 2016, we called some people in and they looked and said, well, you've got a cinder block basement foundation and your blocks are just filled with water. It's just going to flood. You need a whole new, do you have a weeping system around the house? And I said, not that I'm aware of. So they did some testing and said, nope, you don't have one. You're going to need a weeping system in the basement. And you're going to need a weeping system outside and a sump pump, which we didn't have. And that was a huge chunk of change. But,
that's what we're going through.
Right. So they dug up my basement. They tore out the concrete along the side of my basement and then outside along the house. And that was at that point when it was done, I had this 16-foot long rectangular table with my trains on it. And that's when Joyce said, why don't you just take the whole basement when you remodel it? So they fixed the weeping system and then sealed up the concrete foundation again. But I had to rip out all the walls down here and I had to redo the electrical and I did it all myself. And some of the plumbing, gas lines, you're not allowed to touch gas lines. That's against the law.
Well, so we're not allowed to touch plumbing.
Depending on what you do, technically anything, even by law, even to change a toilet in my house, you're supposed to get a permit. Nobody does that.
Oh, well, we have to, but
I mean,
yeah, so
technically we have to too, but nobody does it.
yeah, well, we've got the similar thing, except the whole, you know, how the front yard slopes a little bit. Well,
Right.
apparently it's all full of water.
Mm,
And we're on the slope. It's not going anywhere. So, as I said, the only bonus about this whole thing is we're going to get rid of all the front garden, which we didn't like anyway. We
okay.
always kept saying we're going to get rid of it. But it's been just low maintenance and being sick and not being able to do stuff. It's just, well, it's had to
Right.
stay. But the plumber's going to dig it all up for us and get rid of all the stuff for us.
Oh, that's nice.
As well as fix the drains. So hopefully we don't have to go in the backyard.
Yeah, you are in a.
Well, we're actually flat. Is it we rise up, and then the block is flat.
Okay.
Except
I
where
remember looking out your one back window, and I thought it went up, but maybe I'm confusing that with Gary's house.
oh, it does. No, it does go up a little, but not much. It's basically all concrete, and it rises up. If you look at it, it does rise up a little bit when I get my hand in there, because it drains in, because we recycle everything here. So everything, all our water goes back to a recycle plant and then comes back as our toilet water and as our garden water. And sometimes it can be a bit nasty, the toilet, but it can be brown. We often get brown in our water if it's been raining heavily. But so everything's recycled, and that's not a common thing here. Normally the stormwater drain just goes out and that's it. But so it's in, and we're talking big bucks now because we've got to get a machine in. And once they fix that, who knows whether they need to do stuff in the backyard yet. So anyway, so at the moment I think we're about $4,000, but we could be up to 5 or 6 or even more yet.
Okay.
Anyway, it's just the way it is. Well, I better let you go. I've been going for nearly an hour and a half.
Okay. I was late, but I'm here. I don't have any obligations. Next stop is bed, and that's not for another hour.
Oh, right. No, I have to go out shortly, so get some stuff for the train. I ordered something and I could go and pick it up. But, so, not that I'm going to be able to put it in. Sorry, I'm laughing. It's just, you got to laugh, I suppose. If you don't laugh,
you got to laugh or you cry about some things, you know.
Yeah. And I've got to be honest, I came to almost to tears this week. But anyway, that's just the way it is. But maybe next week we might be back in the train room, and maybe not.
Maybe. Right. Well, I'm ready to show off all my the new platform work. I did the videos, but now it's going to be on the live stream tomorrow.
Oh, cool. I'm looking forward to that.
I've thrown some things on there to try to make it look like a living platform. I found a 3D print for all the little ticket machines.
Yep.
And then I put it into my slicer, and the slicer made it like 1.5 feet tall. It's like, we automatically upscaled this 10 million %.
Hang on, I'm just going to disappear for 2 seconds because I need to. Sorry.
Why can't I get you to work? Yeah, you just catch, and catch. You should not be catching. You should be working. You're just not my friend.
Sorry.
No problem.
I thought I was going to throw up. Anyway, I didn't, but I didn't want to
Do it live on screen. Understood.
Oh dear, it's been every time something happens, I miss out on some drug or changes. It just takes so long to get back. It's just it's just me. Sorry, what were we saying? Oh yeah, you're talking about your platform, yeah.
Yeah, the ticket machines. I need a bunch of ticket machines, and I found a 3D print on Thingiverse that HO scale. But when I put it into my slicer said, yeah, we automatically upscaled it like 100,000, 1,000,000%. So so it's like 1.5 feet tall, 2 foot tall. And I keep trying to adjust it down to the right size, and it just won't let me do it. So I don't know what I'm going to do.
Oh, I sort of gave up that. It just, yeah.
So just going to have to buy pre-made ones. It's just going to cost me more money.
Yeah, well, I need to do something about platforms too, and that's why I said if you were going to buy that one, I'll have the platform bit, but yeah, it's and I see all these people with the new 3D printers. Excuse me, maybe the new ones are better, but I just struggled with it.
I had a 3D printer, an Ender Pro 5, which was supposed to be an upgrade over the great Ender 3 Pro that a lot of people still use. And I could never get it to level and print correctly. Now, there were a couple of things I think I figured out later that had I done this, maybe it would have helped some of the problems. So I bought this Mingda because Mingda was like the hot new item. It was voted best new 3D printer in 2022 or whatever it was. And I got their really nice version. I don't think I bought their highest end, but it was like they have 4 levels, and I bought second from the top. And it definitely does better. But yeah, I just stopped using it. I haven't done a 3D print over a year.
The bamboo ones that no, I've got a mental block, but some of our people have. And you go, oh, they seem to be getting some good prints out of them.
Mm-hmm. The bamboos really are impressing me with what other people are doing. But
yeah, they are.
I think my Mingda has been fine. I occasionally get some things go wrong, but I'm not savvy in making all the little fine tunings that make everything print. I got to get better at that.
Using trying to design stuff myself just doesn't.
Oh, I've been trying to learn how to do Tinkercad, which is a very simplistic system. Yes, and Artie uses Tinkercad. He designs this amazing stuff. And I finally found out, I says, oh yeah, if you go in here, you get all these other shapes. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. Wow, look at all this stuff you can do. But just to create a wall, get it right. Okay, I need this blocked out. I always manage to do something wrong in the design. And then when I print it out, why didn't this window come out instead it's half filled? It's like, oh, because I didn't put the empty space in it properly.
Well, I found a warp and all sorts of issues. So I just... Yeah, I tried so much, and even what's his name? Sorry, I got a mental block. Roy. Yeah, I haven't seen him online for a long time. He helped us, but it still couldn't get it right. You know, I tried different temperatures and all sorts of things. It just never wanted to work for me, you know, so I sort of gave up. It was just too hard. Right. But I see them using the bamboo, and I go, ooh, then maybe. And now with the color one, whoa, that is some machine. Wow.
Yeah, the one that you can put different colors in.
Yeah, the four color printer. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, I saw that. I'm jealous.
Yeah, well, I sort of am, but I sort of not, because I'm going, well, after the last time, I'm just, a bit hesitant. And now, well, I don't know that that's going to happen for a while because, we've just spent, what, just over $2,000 on a hot water system. And that
Right.
was February. I did the video on that where we had the trees cut down and the hot water service done on the same day. So there was grand for the trees to be chopped out. So we had the trees chopped down because of the root system potentially was going to break up the concrete, but also get into the pipes. And I don't know whether we're going to be safe or not out the back, but we're certainly not safe out the front. So that's the first part of it. And then hopefully if that fixes it, then we might be okay. But the amount of water sitting in the stormwater pipes, and we've had no rain since not this week, last Wednesday,
Okay.
and they're all full of water. Absolutely chockers. It would take, even a light rain would just start flooding out. Wouldn't take much to. Did you see the puddle that I had?
Yeah.
That was they had to dig that out and look at it. It's just that I did that last night, that video, and that water was just, it had gone up higher than when I saw it early in the day.
Well, wow.
So it's a bit scary, but it is what it is. No, look, that's fine. It's just another thing to bite me on the bum, but doesn't matter. It's got to be done, and then
Right.
I don't have to worry about the floods and losing stuff in the train room, because it's and the thing is that if it rains too much, then it'll get into the house. So fortunately, the garage is 3 or 4 inches lower than the rest of the house.
Okay.
And we thought, we're never going to get flooded here. We're on it. We got the rise up from the road, and our land is, and in fact, the whole block is actually up higher.
Okay.
And you go, yeah, we're not going to get flooded. Wrong. We're getting flooded like it's, and literally we saw it. We saw it the other day.
We're about 40 to 45 centimeters higher than all the other houses around us. Our one house is up on a little bit of a rise compared to all our neighbors. And then it kind of goes down. And then way at the end of our street, there's a bit of a hill that a whole bunch of houses are on. But our property slopes down. So, yeah, we're like, oh, we'll never flood. Well, yeah, if they take out half the sewers and we get the most torrential downpour the city's ever seen, yep, it all backed up in our basement. But again, we only had 2 or 3 inches of water, and our neighbors had 8.
Well, it just started raining, and Heather and I looked outside and went, oh, no, it'll be all right. 5 minutes later, it started raining heavy. We had a look outside, and it had already started overflowing.
Oh,
and I went, oh, no. So it took me 4 days to dry out the train room last week to this week, right? And I think I pulled out 10 litres of water.
Ooh.
And that was only mild, because it was only just, a couple of mils in the train room, because the rain stopped, fortunately. But if it rains between now and next Wednesday, I have to go out and get some sandbags. It's that serious. It's so chockers right now. It wouldn't take more than a couple of dribbles, literally, for it to flood.
Oh, wow.
So, it is what it is. We'll get it fixed and don't have to worry about it again. But yeah, it's a bugger. Well, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I've ordered some what do you call it? Acrylic? No, perspex. I had a little bit of an accident the other day on the third track as I was doing. You were talking about proof of concept. Well, yeah, I've got proof of concept, and I was running a train for the first time, and on the top lane, I came around the bend, and it just kept going straight on the floor.
Oh yeah.
Oh no. Because it's been flat, it hasn't mattered, but because it's on an incline, oh dear. So I'm getting some perspex to put it at that end.
Yeah, well,
I had it flat, it didn't matter much, you know.
This originally was to protect it from my flying elbows and well, I didn't even have a grandson, but just in case where it was too close to the edge. So I've got perspex on all sides but the back side. I probably should put some on the back side, but that's against the wall, so it would just it would lean. If it tipped over, it would go against the wall. But
Right. Well, I was going to do a bit more, but I've decided I have to back off now a little bit.
right.
But yeah, so I've got some. I think I've got, I don't know, 1, 2, 3. So I've got the big piece that sticks out towards the front of the garage, and then I've got part of the new section.
Okay.
But new section's fine, but it's just, yeah, I need to protect it. So
Right.
so I've got to pick that up today, and I've got to go and see about becoming a pensioner today,
Okay.
because I turned the magic age of becoming a pensioner. Even though I haven't worked for so long, but yeah, it's so I become a pensioner in end of April officially,
Okay.
as in the government's
Right.
legal age. So which has its benefits if you can get them. And the thing that we really would help would be the cheap meds. There's a big discount on meds, so because we spend a fortune on meds. So you know, my little bottle of CBD oil is normally $160. That lasts about 5 weeks.
Okay.
But my doctor found a particular company that does it for a little bit cheaper. But yeah, the meds still cost a fortune, so
Right.
that'll help with that. But other than that, I mean, we're doing okay. Don't get me wrong, we're getting there, but we were until yesterday. Oh, but so I've got to go and see about that, because I don't get any money for being sick. So and my super all went into the house. So you know, that was be it wise or not, means we own the house, so we don't have to worry
Right.
about the house. So that's at least one advantage. But yeah, no, we're doing okay. We're getting by. So, but yeah, I still have to do that. So that'll be help. It'll give us just a bit of a help with as I said, mainly the meds. It's worth about the healthcare card's worth about 10, 15 grand. So
Okay.
and that means meds and doctor's visits, and you know,
Right.
the doctor's not cheap.
No.
I don't know what you guys pay, but we pay a lot. It's about, normally I think it's about $130 for half an hour, for 15 minutes.
Oh wow. Okay. No, our insurance, since Joyce and I had the same insurance, and when
because Richards,
put it in her name, They got same system, same school system. So we have good insurance, union insurance. So we pay $30 deposit on any doctor visit. Run to the emergency rooms like $100. If we go to these things that are called urgent care,
Yeah.
we pay, I think it's $50, $60. So they want you to go to urgent care instead of emergency room. So they charge you more if you go to the emergency room instead of urgent care. The big thing for us though is like anything like x-rays, especially at urgent care, that's, I mean, we still, insurance covers it, but like I just had a surgery and I just a little, they go up inside and remove some polyps, and
you talked about it.
That's about $600-700 out of pocket for all of that.
Right.
The 2 doctor visits.
If we'd had healthcare like that, I would be in debt hugely because of my operation.
Mm-hmm.
We worked out how much that operation, my stay in hospital cost, about $8 million.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Because I had a private room.
Oh, okay.
Which I didn't ask for, but they gave it to me. But I didn't have to pay for it. It was on the free health. But if we'd had healthcare, I would have been out of pocket a huge amount.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the number one cause of bankruptcy, and so many families keep going because one person gets catastrophically sick, and you lose the house, you lose everything because you can't afford to pay it off.
Yep. So in one way, it's great that we don't have it. In another way, it's bad.
Right.
But it's certainly better. When we couldn't afford it when I stopped working, so things were a bit tough at that stage. They're better now, but they were pretty tough then.
Yeah.
But doctor's visits are about $130. But my doctor, because I've been going to it for a while, gives it to me at a cheaper rate, and then we get a rebate of about $45. So it costs us about $50 a visit.
Okay.
But if I was on healthcare, it'd be costing me more than that. It's just,
right.
Health insurance. It's just and the cost of health insurance is unbelievable here. But anyway, well, I can't complain because I had most amazing care, and I didn't pay for it. The worst one, the one time I really felt guilty, and I mean I paid my taxes. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
I paid my taxes when I was working. When they found out that I'd had cancer, it was during COVID, and I was upgraded to a private hospital. And I'm sitting in this 2-bed ward of a private hospital. And this guy comes into the other bed and, I've just been admitted as emergency. And, and he said, and my healthcare covered it, but I had to pay $800 for coming in here and spending a few days in here. And that was just the admittance fee without the end fee. And
right.
I'm sitting going, I'm here and I'm not paying anything because the government because we had such big lists in the private. If there was a free surgery in a private hospital, the government would pay for it. Mm-hmm. And I was lucky to have that. But and then that's what I thought at that time. But when I had the operation, wow, it was just, 20 surgeons,
Right.
Can you imagine the bill for 20 surgeons plus the operating theatre plus, and 8 weeks in a private room at $5,000 a day?
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention all the, and so we figured it out, about $8 million. So I'm certainly lucky. Very, very lucky. I just shake my head when I think about it. But
right.
Because I see one of my specialists, and it's like $200 to $300 just to see her. That's my blood specialist, my hematologist.
Okay.
It's not cheap, but that's easier to bear than the bigger bill that would have been if I had have had health insurance. So I guess we're lucky for that. Anyway, I better let you go, and I better go because we've got things to do now. So
All right.
this appointment this afternoon, and I've got to go and pick up the other stuff which I'm supposed to do before a certain time. So I'll let you go, but thank you for joining me. You really helped me out. I appreciate it. I didn't know what to do because I didn't have anything to show, and the two videos I did really this morning. I just
Like I said, I just felt bad. Earlier today I said, yeah, be there, and then
stuff's happened. Look, I get that. No, I don't. It's cool. Don't worry about that. I get that, but it was more that if you could help me out because I just didn't know what to do, and I didn't want to not do anything like last week because I want to try and get back up and get regular.
Right.
But not having a train room.
Right.
I went, well, what do I do? And it was only at the last minute that I decided I'd do something. So, and I thank you for joining me.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it.
It's always great to see you.
Oh, look, I enjoy it. Well, look, we have a. I'm not being up myself, but we have a lot of things in common. Same sort of music, same sort of things. We share. Well, you've got a grandkid,
And just it's because we came and visited your house. There is a difference to talking to somebody like this when you've never met them in person, but then you've spent a day with them in person. It takes it to another level. Some people don't believe that, but it really does.
No, it does. It does. And look, I was you as I said when Artie rang me and said you were going to come and visit, I was almost in tears. I've got to be honest, because it was just you're coming to see me, and from Sydney. Well, that's 800 k's away. That's a big trip, as you know. This is a big country, like your country, and that's a big deal to come that far.
Yeah, but my attitude is, especially when we first did it, it was going to be my only trip to the UK. And if there are people I know in the UK and there's any way we could see them. Now, we had even talked about just taking whatever train, even if it's a 14, 15-hour, 16-hour train, we were going to go down and spend a couple of days in Melbourne and come out and see you. We were going to see you. If we came to Australia, we were coming to see you.
Yep.
Because
I appreciate that. You have no idea how much I appreciate that.
Yeah. It's simply because we've been chatting. We like you. We want to come and meet you not because you were sick, not because of anything, but because since before COVID, we have been chatting online, and you've always come across as such a nice guy. I've always been impressed with everything you've done. And over the last few years, we've gotten to know you even more by coming up on Artie's show and chatting before you had your surgery and so forth. There's no way we weren't, because distance doesn't matter. It's about opportunity. The problem is we went to Australia, and now Artie wants us to come back, and Joyce wants to go back. And I say, Joyce, I do too, but I don't relish the long flight. That's the only reason I always hesitate.
That's not wrong.
But now Joyce wants to. The problem is Joyce not only wants to go to Australia again, she wants to stop off and spend a week or so in Hawaii. And I'm like, I've never been into the tropics. I don't need to go to Hawaii. I don't need to go to Fiji. I don't need to go to Tahiti. I'm a Nordic person. I want to go to Northern Europe and the UK, and we're going to Australia. And now next time we come to Australia is going to be 2027? And we're coming in October.
Yep. Ooh.
Supposedly just before the rainy season starts. It's sort of like spring.
Yeah, but look, my auntie and uncle, when my uncle was alive, came out from England in October. And it was the first time he came out. My auntie had been out before. And we're on our way to the airport to meet them. And it's like 5 o'clock in the morning, and it's 30 degrees Celsius.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know what hit them when they got off that plane. It was about 35, 40 degrees Celsius that day.
Yeah.
And they just melted. Just, and we go, oh yeah, we have this joke where we don't take our jumpers off until it's about 22 degrees. And I say that with my cousin because I have a cousin who's called Greg. And I'm a bit older than him, and he was named after me. He's actually my namesake.
Oh, okay.
And I used to joke with him about, and we still do. Oh, it's getting a bit warm here. It's only 30 degrees. I just took my jumper off, and I go, But so it's what you're used to, and I guess I've done so much traveling. I do acclimatize very quickly. I've been in the tropics quite a bit for work. I've been to Singapore before. Singapore was quite nasty, but as I was saying, I do appreciate you coming. I was really touched, and it was a real privilege, and I really do appreciate it. And yes, it's sort of made our friendship a lot stronger and lot better, I suppose. And it is different, but we do share a lot of things, like the Beatles. You loved that Beatle clip, wasn't that cool?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, there's another one I saw yesterday. It's done with AI. It was Eleanor Rigby.
Yeah, okay. I think I know the one you're talking about.
It was all right. But, and because what popped up yesterday, which made me look at it, was there is an Australian clip of Eleanor Rigby by a group called Zoot.
Okay.
Right. And I'm not into other groups doing, original stuff much. But I have to say, and this is an old clip, it's about a 70s clip. But the Zoot do Eleanor Rigby, and it's the most amazing sound. It's got, I can't think of his name now. He's quite a great guitarist. I was going to say Bruce Springsteen. It's not. Anyway, he's a well-known. He's a well-known guitarist. He was actually he went and did some soapy stuff. Rick Springfield.
There we go. Okay, right, because he is an Aussie. Yeah.
Yeah, great guitarist.
Mm-hmm.
But this is, Eleanor Rigby is very sort of folky to a degree.
I would say, well, because of what George Martin did with the strings, I always think throw it in the classical range. But yeah.
Yeah, all right, we could go classical. This is heavy rock, Eleanor Rigby.
Okay.
And it starts off with this, and it is really up tempo, almost heavy rock, but really well done.
Mm-hmm.
The camera work, even we don't do camera work like that anymore. The camera work is stunning on it. Multiple cameras, and this is back in the 70s. It's quite an amazing clip, and it's one of the few ones that I like better than the original. I still like the original, don't get me wrong, but it's a stunning clip. So if you ever get a chance, group is called Zoot.
Zoot.
Yep, ZOOT.
Yeah.
And they were well known because they used to wear pink or purple. Pink.
Yeah. I actually know of them.
Right. So, but yeah, their rendition of Eleanor Rigby, man, it's great.
Because that was around the original iteration. Now they were out of New Zealand, but Split Ends.
Oh yes,
a very similar. The funky, weird outfits, and yeah.
Yeah. We're all into that. Yeah, we. I guess I'm a child of I was born in the 50s, late 50s, but went through all that. And they say if you remember it, you weren't there, but I was there.
Well, you're too young to have done the things that made you forget it.
Yeah. And the one regret I think I had was I missed out. I was an apprentice, but I wasn't driving at the stage. I was only 16. I missed out on seeing the Bee Gees.
Okay.
I missed out on George Benson. I really liked George Benson.
Right.
I had to work. So I talked about earlier being in the hi-fi shop. I had to work and do a stock take in the hi-fi shop. There was another guy and and our partners or wives, we booked to go and see George Benson, and both of us had to work, so we missed out. Because I used to use one of his tracks. I used to use several different ones, but to test speakers and systems with, because of the tonal values inside the particular songs.
Right.
That bring out certain bits. Yeah, and I missed out on that, and I was too young to do that. But what I did see was Paul McCartney and Wings
Okay.
live. That was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, I'm very eclectic. I'm not really into hip hop but my music range is very eclectic. But I know we share the Beatles and lots of other things. So
I don't say I like a genre of music. They're like I have disco. I despise. I cannot stand disco and any sort of even modern club dance music. I hated disco when it came out, and still hate disco. And then I'm not a fan of bluegrass. But everything else, I'm not a jazz aficionado. I can listen to jazz, but I prefer older jazz. But anything, I guess, mid-70s and earlier, not so much fusion jazz. But yeah, I'm very eclectic too. But in the end, Joyce and I, I'm a Beatlemaniac. She likes the Beatles, but they're not her favorite. She's Led Zeppelin. She's a heavy metal rocker.
She's a heavy metal. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But we have a lot of crossover, but my favorites are not her favorites, and her favorites are not my favorites. She's not. I love Pink Floyd.
Oh, yeah.
She's not big into Pink Floyd. She likes certain songs, but she's not big into Pink Floyd. I love The Who. There's some songs by The Who she really likes, and then a lot.
I'm not big into The Who. Got to be honest. I like some, but not big into The Who. But but I'm also very eclectic. One of the things when I was working at this hi-fi shop, a couple of guys left and went into doing their own stuff, and they used to bring in these records that were, for want of a better word, classic pop.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my favourite groups out of that is called Mannheim and Steamroller.
Oh yeah, I know them.
You know them?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, one of my favourites ones is Classical Gas.
Mm-hmm.
With Mason Williams and Mannheim and Steamroller.
Yep.
The other one is the one with the cricket, where they have a Claudette the cricket playing in the background. So, but they were all into these really expensive records. So, when a record was $12, these were $25 and $30.
Right.
And they used to help distribute as well as hi-fi gear. But we used to sit around on a Saturday afternoon and listen to all this music and decide whether it was worthwhile or not. We all had different tastes, but there was some really good stuff that came through that. There's one called, now I forget I can't think of the name now, sorry, my brain's gone. But they did a takeoff of the Beach Boys. Except, unlike the Beach Boys, they were in tune.
Okay.
So they were absolutely, if you listen to them, you would find it very difficult to tell the difference between them and the Beach Boys.
Mm-hmm.
They were, I can't think of the name of the band, but they were really cool. And then things like, when one of my other favourite, and I really like it. It's great to test speakers on, is Toccata in G major. And I'm not a classical guy, but Toccata in G major, done by Mannheim and Steamroller, or it's just absolutely. Or what was the other one? Oh, I forget what his name was. He was in one of the big rock groups, and he went private. No, sorry, the brain's not working. But yeah, it's sort of very eclectic. And then I like folk music. I had some friends who used to play, and I used to do the sound for them in sort of coffee clubs. And from last time I heard them, they were big time rock stars over in Europe, and they came from one came from Scotland and the other one was from England. I used to do the sound from. I actually made a record with them.
Oh, okay.
I physically recorded it, and I went to EMI here in Australia and had it pressed. And now they're big time rock stars. And I went, whoa! But things happen and things change, and we lost touch because we moved and all sorts of things.
Right.
Yeah. I do enjoy music. I do enjoy lots of eclectic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not into everything, but I like this one and I like that one, and if it's got good harmonies and good beat, yeah. I mean, even things like Van Halen and there are songs of those. All those, some of the more what are they? Not punk rock, but they're more hard rock. No, I can't think of the name. Sorry, the name eludes me. That's my chronic fatigue.
Right. I got into punk rock, and then what was called new wave and new romantics. I have bands. I'm still a huge Adam and the Ants fan. Just anything that was different in the 70s and 80s, because it was either what we call dinosaur rock or disco. And while today I enjoy the dinosaur rock, but it was like I liked the American band Styx, but they got some good songs, but they just became so operatic and so over the top. Everything's bombastic. I liked a lot of Yes, but Yes got so everybody's got to do progressive rock, and how wild and crazy can you go? And then punk rock just came in, and I was an angry young man, and punk was angry young man music. And even though it was UK, it dealt with a lot of themes. I was feeling, the son of a oft unemployed factory worker, and kind of living on streets, and the anger of punk rock just woke up in me, and
you can relate to it.
Yeah, and
I get it. I really do. I guess I'm a bit the same. I relate to the music, and
but go ahead.
Yeah. All right. I'll let you go and get some sleep.
Okay.
I really do appreciate you chatting, and it's helped me feel a bit better. I like
to have somebody to talk to too besides Joyce. I mean, Joyce is a wonderful listener in that, but
it's nice to have other adult conversations.
Yeah. Although I prefer immature conversations myself, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
We were playing around at the doctor's office with the various nurses, and that I'm just going, and there's always a phrase that Joyce always throws at me. She always, you might catch a live stream, she'll look at me and she'll just go, behave. And for 30 years, I've said, I am behaving badly.
Yes.
You need to be more precise, like be good.
Yes, be good.
Be good. Yeah. Because when you say behave, my answer is I am behaving badly.
Men behaving badly, yes.
Yeah, indeed. There we go.
You stupid woman. Yeah, no. Sorry. Yeah. So, as I said, I love hello. That's good. Anyway. we better get off here.
Okay. Well, I'll let you go.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
No, it was great talking to you.
And thank you for anybody who's watching, who's still watching, and all those who have joined us. And yes, my chat stopped, and when I froze, everything froze.
Yeah, well, the chat stopped when Chris said he was out. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, mine just froze. That was it. When I froze, everything went, and
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't get the chat back after that. But thanks. Have a good night.
You too.
We'll probably see you on the stream tomorrow.
Yep, I'm tomorrow, and then I'm on Saturday, and yeah.
Maybe Saturday I might say hello.
Okay.
See how we're going. All right. Thank you.
Take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks everybody for watching and enjoying our chit chat, and hopefully you'll subscribe and hit the like button. And until hopefully next week, it's bye for now.